Ever looked at the price of computer parts lately and just thought, wait, what is happening? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dig into the real reason your next PC upgrade is suddenly so expensive, and it's a mystery that's hitting all of our wallets.
Seriously, why did your tech just get so expensive? It's the question that's probably driving you nuts if you're a PC builder or just someone looking for an upgrade. You do all the research, you save up, you get ready to buy, and boom, memory and storage prices have just shot through the roof. So what's the deal?
Okay, let's just look at the hard numbers, right? A real-world example. Not even that long ago, you could grab a decent 1 terabyte SSD for about 6,000 rupees. Pretty standard. But today, you look for that exact same drive. We're talking same brand, same model, and it's going to set you back anywhere from 10,000 to 14,000 rupees. I mean, that's nearly double the price for the same thing. And look, it's not just SSDs. If you thought you could escape this by just upgrading your RAM, think again. You're going to face the exact same sticker shock. The price for a good set of RAM has basically doubled in just the last few months. This isn't a one-off thing. It's happening across the board.
You know, for a lot of us, this whole situation gives us this weird feeling of déjà vu, doesn't it? It feels so similar to that whole GPU crisis a few years back during the crypto mining boom. Remember that? When it was impossible to buy a graphics card? This feels just like that. It was heartbreaking for gamers and creators back then, and honestly, this memory price hike is starting to feel just as painful.
So what in the world is causing this, let's call it the great memory squeeze? Well, to really get to the bottom of it, you first have to ask a simple question. Who actually makes all this stuff?
And the answer is, well, it's a surprisingly small club. It turns out the entire global supply is controlled by just a handful of players. We're talking about 3 massive companies, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron. That's pretty much it.
And when I say they control the market, I'm not exaggerating. These 3, they're like the gatekeepers. They produce almost all of the world's RAM and the NAND flash that goes into our SSDs. So basically, any decision they make has this huge ripple effect on global supply and, yep, the final price you end up paying. So what's their latest decision been? Well, guess what? All 3 of them have jacked up their prices by at least 30%, a minimum of 30%, which of course leads to the billion-dollar question. Why? Why now?
And the answer, which probably won't surprise you at this point, comes down to 2 letters, AI. The explosive growth of artificial intelligence is at the heart of this. So let's talk about AI's absolutely insatiable appetite for computer hardware.
Okay, so what's happening right now is basically a global tech arms race. You've got all the big names, Google, OpenAI, Meta, you name it, and they are pouring billions of dollars into building these absolutely massive AI data centers all over the world. Seriously, we have never seen anything like this kind of construction boom for tech infrastructure. Ever.
And what are they stuffing inside these giant buildings? Just a mind-boggling amount of hardware. We're talking thousands upon thousands of the most powerful GPUs. Huge, and I mean huge, amounts of RAM. And petabytes, that's millions of gigabytes, of the fastest SSD storage they can get their hands on. It is a literal hardware buying frenzy.
So the obvious conclusion here, right, is that these giant AI companies are just gobbling up all the parts, leaving nothing for the rest of us. Simple supply and demand. But is that what's really happening? Are they actually buying the same memory that you and I would put into our PCs?
Well, the truth is a little more complicated than that, because as it turns out, not all memory is created equal.
See, these massive AI systems, they need a very specific, very special kind of memory. It's called HBM, which stands for high bandwidth memory. Now, this isn't the same stuff you snap into your motherboard at home. This is a whole different beast. It's an ultra-fast, super specialized memory that's designed to do one thing: feed massive amounts of data to those power-hungry AI chips as fast as possible. It's like comparing a go-kart to a Formula One car.
Okay, so this is the absolute key to understanding the whole mess. The problem isn't that AI companies are buying up your SSD. The real problem is that the same factories, run by the same 3 companies, make both the fancy HBM for AI and the regular RAM and SSDs for us. And right now, they've hit a massive manufacturing bottleneck.
Let's just rewind the clock a little bit to 2023. Back then, things were pretty balanced. You can see here that about 65% of all their factory space and resources were dedicated to making the stuff for you and me, the consumer-grade RAM and SSDs. Okay, now fast forward to today, and wow, just look at that shift. The super profitable AI memory,
that HBM has completely taken over. It's now sucking up 60% of all production. And what about us, the consumer parts? We've been squeezed down to just 15%. It's pretty clear what's happening, right? The manufacturers are just following the money.
So that explains why this is happening. But that doesn't really help you when you're looking at your shopping cart, does it? Which brings us to the big one. The question everyone wants an answer to. When is this going to stop? When will prices finally come back down?
All right, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off here. I wish I had better news for you, but every single industry expert, all the analysis, it's all pointing in the same direction. The short answer is, not anytime soon.
So here's what the road ahead looks like. Through all of 2025, prices are expected to keep climbing. Yep, climbing. Then, by 2026, the shortages could actually get even worse as AI demand just keeps growing. We're not likely to see any real relief until around 2028. That's when the first of these huge new factories, which by the way take years and billions of dollars to build, finally start shipping product.
And if you want just one single piece of evidence that shows how serious this shift is, this is it. Micron, one of the big three, they recently announced they are shutting down their consumer brand Crucial. Crucial, a brand that's been around for almost 30 years. They are getting out of the consumer game almost entirely to go all in on AI. I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know, right? So what has to happen for things to get back to normal? Well, it's kind of like a 3-item checklist. First, this insane AI gold rush has to cool off a bit and stabilize. Second, those massive new factories have to actually get built and start pumping out HBM. And only then, once those two things happen, will the manufacturers even think about shifting some of their focus back to making parts for us.
So here's the bottom line. This isn't some temporary price bubble that's just going to pop in a few months. This is a massive, fundamental shift in the entire hardware industry, and it's all being driven by the AI boom. And the ripple effect from that giant wave? Yeah, it's splashing right in your wallet.
So we've seen today crystal clear how the AI boom is already changing the price of the hardware we all use. It makes you wonder, though, if it's already doing this to our PCs, what is it going to reshape next?